The week that you are embarking upon initiates a brand new start for you and for your chart for the next year and a half. My name is Haley Comet, and welcome to Just Another Magic Monday, particularly your Magic Monday astrology forecast, because we do cover every single week's horoscope here on my channel. But this week we are talking about the astrology of July 17th to July 23rd, what the cosmos are doing, and furthermore, what we really hone in on here on Magic Monday is how you can co-create with these celestial themes in order to live your most magical and your most aligned life. And when it comes to this week's astrology and living your most magical and your most aligned life, firstly, you're going to want a snack. You're going to want a coffee. You're going to want something to sip on because we have a lot happening within this week's astrology. These are the most fun horoscopes when we have an action-packed week. First and foremost, the most significant shift is that the nodes are shifting from Taurus and Scorpio into Aries and Libra. When the node shifts, that means that the signs typically that we experience eclipses in shift as well. And if you're familiar with eclipses, you know eclipses sort of shake things up, okay? And it's not that we have an eclipse this week, but what I will say is you are going to get some foreshadows, some hints and some clues around what your work, what your transformation, what your growth will be over the next year and a half that we are setting off on. The story will not be totally told this week, but we are starting to get shifts around how it is that we're being asked to prioritize our own instincts, our own independence, our own autonomy. That's the energy of North Node in Aries, and how we are being asked to collectively release attachment to how we are perceived by others, attachment to keeping the peace at the expense of our own truth. So that story is beginning to unfold. And on the very same day, we have a new moon in Cancer, which involves the nodes because it is essentially squaring the North Node, squaring the South Node. So when I say there is a brand new beginning starting this week, I am not kidding. Now, it's not the most calming and peaceful beginning. It's sort of the beginning where you kind of feel thrust into this new chapter, ready or not, here you come. But there is this profound feeling within this week's astrology around something is happening. And the interesting thing about this week, and I'm sure you felt this within your life as well, when you can distinctly feel that your life is about to change. It's a knowing, and it's equal parts fear and exhilaration. You don't know exactly what it's going to feel like. You don't even have any rational proof that that's what's transpiring, but you just feel yourself being pulled into this next chapter when you're excited about where it is that you're taking you, but you're also scared around where you'll come out on the other side, who you will come out as on the other side. And that's really the energy with this Cancer new moon, is really prioritizing the happiness, the peace, and the fulfillment, and the anchoring within the home of your own soul, so that you can, even as you're going through these shifts and going into this massive transformation that I know a lot of you feel that you're on the edge of. Does anybody feel that energy when it's like, I can feel something coming in, I can feel something shifting, I don't know what it is, I don't know what it's going to entail, I don't even know why I feel this way, but all I know is that I know. And I think part of North Node in Aries, the story overall, is going to be about trusting that instinct, trusting that knowing. And with the node shifting involved in that Cancer new moon, it's really around re-anchoring into the seat of your soul, right? Anchoring into your intuition and having this new start to really build your own happiness, to really build, yes, your physical home that has to do with the domain of Cancer, but also the home within your soul, and that you feel yourself being absorbed by this huge change that's taking over you, or this huge transformation that's being asked of you. And with the Cancer new moon, it's around, okay, how can I ground down into my own being? There might be many aspects of my life that are shifting and changing at this time being. How can I show up for myself? How can I ground myself? How can I anchor myself? So that home is wherever it is that I am. Even if my external reality is shifting and changing, which I do feel for a lot of you, that is what's happening. Again, it might not all happen this week, but there's like this interesting foreshadow energy this week where it's almost like you're peering over the edge around what it is that you're stepping into, or just feeling pulled by this gravitational pull around, okay, I'm going somewhere. Things are going to change for me. I don't know how, I don't know why I feel this way. But with the Cancer new moon, it's around how can we support ourselves to really show up for this new chapter as the most soulful, as the most aligned, as the most honest version of ourselves. That's really a focus when it relates to the Cancer new moon. We'll of course talk about that more. Other events of the week's astrology, we have Sun opposing Pluto, Sun trining Neptune, Chiron retrograde, Venus stationing retrograde, the Sun entering Leo. Do you see what I mean? This is an action-packed week of astrology, and I'll be breaking it all down thematically as well as day by day. Before we do, take a step inside my cosmic cafe. Today I'm drinking a cold brew, a little bit of almond milk, and a little bit of cinnamon oat creamer. Let me know what you were sipping on below, and I'm telling you, you're gonna want a beverage. We have a lot to discuss, and that's why I'm so glad that you're here getting dialed into this energy, because this is quite a week of astrology. So let me know what you were sipping on as you get dialed into the energy. If you are new to my channel, hello, welcome. Please do not get attached to this backdrop. I do not have this good of style or taste. I am at my friend Cass's apartment. I'm traveling in New York City. She's a Taurus rising. Can't you tell? Can't you tell? And if everyone could just comment below, thank you, Cass. I'm so grateful for her generosity, not only letting me stay here, but also letting me film here and explore the city. I just knew I'm not gonna leave you guys hanging. Like, this is such a powerful week of astrology. I was like, we need to get dialed in for all of this energy. So I'm super, super grateful to her for letting me film here, and also to you all for not being too attached to the cosmic corner, that you guys let me roam and travel and whatnot. So just a quick little New York City check-in. I've been here for about a week. I've been having so much fun. I've been feeling so inspired. There's been some thunderstorms, but I honestly haven't minded too much, although I should probably be real. I did mind at first. Like on Sunday, we had this event. It was called Tiki Disco. It was at this like Bushwick warehouse, and I just assumed, I heard warehouse and I assumed indoors, and I was looking at the weather forecast and I was looking at my cute outfit, and the cute outfit won out, okay? And I think we all assumed that it was going to be indoors, so it was raining. And at first we would like all go inside. There was like this very small indoor part that honestly was giving dungeon vibes. It was kind of creepy. There was this indoor part where we would just like huddle up and like kind of dance, but the better DJ was outside. And then finally my friends were like, whatever, let's just let it go and just dance. But like me, I was in my Virgo moon, Virgo rising energy, where I was like, but my hair and my makeup and my clothes and my purse. So all of my friends go outside to go dance, and I'm just looking at them through the window, like very much in my Squidward in my Squidward bag, just watching my friends dance in the rain, looking like freaking goddesses, having so much fun, while I'm just like inside like meh. And I finally was just like, Haley, you are in Brooklyn. You're with a lot of your best friends. A lot of my friends moved all over, so it's really, really special when we can be together. And I was like, you can either be inside or feel sorry for yourself, or just let it go. No one cares how your hair looks and how your makeup looks, and the clothes will be fine. Just live, just dance. You'll get the clothes back. You'll never get this moment back. And the moment that I made that decision to go outside, the music shifted. Like, it had been kind of techno, which I do like electronic music, but I do, you know, give me something, you know, give me something. And the DJ shifted at this moment, and a new DJ I think came on, because all of a sudden it transitioned into this remix of the song Let It Happen by Tame Impala, and me and my friends love Tame Impala, and that song was so perfect for that moment, because again, I was like in my head like, oh, my hair and everything, and that song was just basically like, let it happen, it's gonna feel so good. And it did, just allowing myself to get soaked on. I mean, I was giving sewer rat energy, but I was just having so much fun. And all of us who were dancing in the rain, because there's a lot of people dancing in the rain who just let it go, right? No one could be on their phone because no one wanted to get their phone soaked. And everyone just let go. Everyone just let go and danced. And it was honestly one of the most pure, freeing moments of my life, because I just wasn't concerned about what I looked like. All I was feeling at that moment was just the love that I had for my friends, and dancing to one of our favorite songs and feeling the rain on my skin. And it really just served as a reminder for me, and I'm going to pass this along to you as well, that you can always call upon different attributes of my chart. Like I said, the Virgo moon and rising was like, you've got to get your stuff together, you've got to be put together, you can't get too wet. But again, I just needed to let the Pisces sun and Venus take hold and just flow and just live in the moment. So I want you to know you can always call upon certain placements of yours to really just step into it. Like there might be certain placements that you need to call upon more than others when you're stepping into certain environments. And that was helpful for me at that warehouse party. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into vibe check of the week. I went ahead and put down my coffee. I'll take my sips off camera. My friend has this really nice green velvet couch. And if you know me, if you're familiar with Magic Monday, you know that gravity works extra on me. And I typically do spill almost everything that I sip on. So we're just gonna get that out of the way and away from the green velvet couch. So Vibe Check of the Week is a segment that we do here on Magic Monday where we essentially liken all of the astrological energy of this week. Chiron is stationing retrograde, Venus stationing retrograde, Sun ingressing into Leo, Mercury square Uranus, Mercury square Jupiter, Sun trine Neptune, Sun opposite Pluto, Cancer new moon, North Node entering Aries. My gosh, we take all of that and compare it to a real life scenario. So that even if you forget the intricacies, because my goodness, there's a lot happening this week, even if you forget, wait, what did Mercury square Uranus mean? What does Mercury square Jupiter means? You can have a real life scenario to sort of hone in on the big picture of how this astrology may play out within your universe. So this week's Vibe Check of the Week, this week's astrology feels like a spiritual awakening. Okay. And I would assume if you're into astrology that you are somewhat of a spiritual person. I would actually love to hear if you care to share below what your spiritual awakening was like. And for the purpose of the vibe check, we'll essentially just liken this to a time in your life in which you become conscious of this whole other spiritual dimension of life. And the thing about most spiritual awakenings is that there's moments around feeling this profound optimism and amazement, the sense of meaning, because it's so cool. This whole new world opens up to you. Whether you kind of get into spirituality via, pulling cards or astrology or trusting your intuition or having dreams, you have this profound new level of depth. You have this profound new view on life. You fundamentally view things differently through the lens of meaning and spirit, and you're seeing repeating numbers. You're seeing all these signs and synchronicities. It's just like the world, which before felt very mundane and typical, all of a sudden is a sign, this whole new level of depth and meaning, and that's such an amazing part of it. But if you've gone through this, you know it is not all like that. It's also timed with really, really crushing revelations. It's also timed with feeling very, very alone or feeling fundamentally different, or things that you used to like and resonate with, you no longer do, or people that you used to feel very connected to, you no longer do, or things that felt very real, all of a sudden it just feels like it was all an illusion. Going through spiritual awakening is such a mixed bag, and this week's astrology is such a mixed bag, because there's these moments of feeling so supported as a soul, having this whole new wisdom opening up to you, this whole new way of viewing the world, but also having to deal with these crushing waves of doubt. Firstly, because you're like, oh my gosh, am I crazy? What's happening? Why do I no longer connect to the people around me, right? You can be feeling more physically exhausted just because spiritually you're opening up so much, or maybe you're having a hard time sleeping. Like again, energy can be all over the place as your physical body is sort of integrating all that's happening when it comes to your spiritual journey. And the biggest part of a spiritual awakening is that, yes, this whole new world opens up to you, right? And once you know something, you can't unknow it, right? And once all of these illusions have been crumbled around you, and once you are seeing this new level of depth and this new level of awareness, and you're approaching life through this whole new level of consciousness, and the more you get into it, the more uncovers of both your own soul as well as your understanding of this world, and you can't go backwards. You feel like you're being drawn into something bigger. Yes, there will be moments of, I'm sure you've heard the terminology dark night of the soul. Like there's moments of feeling alone. There's moments of feeling very doubtful. There's moments of feeling strangely removed from the things that you used to care about or the things that society prioritizes. But I think the ask this week is to really just settle with this Cancer new moon into the seat of your soul, into the home of your soul, so that you are able to essentially pilot yourself through this transformation. Because I just want to make this super clear. It's not that everything externally is shaking up this week, okay? Like again, a lot of us, during this next North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra transit, a lot of us are going to have major shifts to our relationships. We're going to have major shifts to jobs and to spirituality and to family. And again, we're on this new precipice of this new adventure, of this new chapter of our story. And it's almost like we're not exactly there, like the external events haven't happened, but internally we feel it coming and we're starting to have this awareness around what's transpiring. Certain signs will be more affected by the North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra transit than others. Make sure to check out my all signs video to find out what's transpiring, what new beginning is happening for your chart. But again, with this, it's like we're on the precipice of something big, and that's how going through a spiritual awakening feels. For me personally, it was like so much was happening with my inner cosmos, and I knew something big was going to happen in the external, but it hadn't quite shown up or reflected there. Like so much was happening here, and it hadn't quite happened here, but I knew I was being pulled into this new level of awareness, this new level of consciousness, that I knew that my life was going to be different, but it didn't necessarily reflect externally immediately, right? But I felt it coming, and it was both exhilarating and also scary, right? And with this precipice, we have this new start of the Cancer new moon. Around our external reality, we can feel that something's going to shift. We can feel that there's some sort of change. Some of these changes will be forced upon us. Some of them will be essentially initiated by our own soul, by our own spirit that's nudging us, our own intuition that's nudging us that this is what is needed in order to step into the next chapter. Those changes won't all externally echo this particular week, but there can be certain hints and foreshadows. And with the energy of the Cancer new moon, this reminds me of the portion of the spiritual awakening where you kind of have to hermit away a little bit. Like the energy of Cancer has to do with home, and not just our physical abode, but also the home of our soul. So it's like feeling that things are going to shift, and it's like, okay, how am I going to show up for myself? Like oftentimes when you're going through a spiritual awakening, you are more sensitive. So you kind of draw back your energy a little bit. You kind of have to ground down into what's safe, into what's comfortable. And with this new moon, it's sort of this ask around how can I ground down and really show up for my own soul? How can I create home in wherever it is that I am, so that I am still able to show up for myself and care for myself, even as I feel things shifting quite a bit around me. So the Cancer new moon is asking, how can we ground and show up for ourselves as we feel this precipice, that's North Node in Aries, awakening towards us, whether we're being pulled into the spiritual awakening, pulled into this new chapter being formed within our lives. How can we show up for ourselves in order to ground ourselves, anchor ourselves as we feel these changes coming in? The Mercury square Jupiter energy and even Mercury square Uranus energy was essentially the part of the spiritual awakening where I was talking about you view things differently. And with Mercury square Jupiter, that's sort of the energy around a whole new level of meaning as you look at the world. And at first, when you start wakening up or becoming more conscious or becoming more of a spiritual person, with the square to Jupiter, you can be, let's be real, you can be a little delusional about it, or you can be a little over optimistic around, I would call this like the love and light stage of spirituality, where it's like, this is so great, I'm having this new layer of depth, it's all going well, right? With the Cancer new moon, I might be drawing back my energy in order to really dial in order to satiate my soul, in order to trust my intuition with this new chapter, but it's all gonna be great, it's all gonna be great, it's all gonna be great. Sort of the energy of Mercury square Jupiter. And of course, if you've gone through this, it is not always like that, right? There are moments where it's like, this is so cool. I have this profound connection to God and spirit. All of these synchronicities are happening for me. This new beginning is starting for me. I'm so excited. But there's also some challenging attributes, and that's reflected within this week's astrology. We have Mars opposite Saturn, which is this hitting the wall sensation. Mars is our motivation. So this can be likened to the vibe check in that no longer feeling the same motivation around things that you used to value or things that you wanted to work towards. All of a sudden, now that you have this whole new depth of awareness, you're looking at your existing job or your existing projects, and you're just feeling this resistance around it. And you're like, uh-oh, I can literally feel my body repelling this. Maybe this is not part of the next chapter that's opening up for me. Again, note that as resistance. And then this weekend, we have the sun ingressing into Leo, we have Venus stationing retrograde, and we have Chiron stationing retrograde. This is the portion of our spiritual awakening where we are being asked to really face ourselves. The sun is entering the sign of rulership, illuminate things that could have been in the dark. And particularly with Venus retrograde, certain patterns that we've had in love and relationships, and with Chiron retrograde, certain patterns that we have utilized in order to avoid where it is that we need healing. And that's why spiritual awakenings can be so painful, because all of a sudden you're having these awakenings around inner child healing, or ways that you've tried to protect yourself, or ways that you are still healing, or ways that you feel fundamentally different than others. Again, it's illuminating all of these things that could have been in the darkness, and some of those revelations can be painful, can be challenging. But I'm telling you, when it comes to this week, when it comes to the chapter that we are stepping into, it will be worth it. So I'm going to go ahead and take this into our day-by-day analysis. I want to let you know, if you are feeling this craving around dialing deeper into your astrological journey, really mastering your own birth chart, how you can really live out its highest potential, I want to let you know that I'm currently enrolling for some astrology classes this summertime. You can check that out below. I do have a special code for you. It is only active this week, and you can use code Cancer New Moon to save. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? This is the biggest discount. This is the biggest discount on your investment that I've ever done, but it felt right with the Cancer energy. But that code will get you 44% off any of my tiers, any of my offerings. There's options for self-paced. There's a moon course, as well as overall big picture natal chart course. You can do it on your own, self-study on the online platform, or you can opt for consultation support from me, Voxer support from me, whatever supports your journey. I'm so excited for the souls who have already jumped in, and we will connect at the end of the summer with some group classes where your natal chart will be utilized within examples as we draw some insights from your particular celestial blueprint. So use code Cancer New Moon on selfcareastrology.com to save 44% on any tier. I'm so excited. And without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into the astrology forecast for Monday, July 17th. Oh, and before we do, just a quick note. If I say a time attached to a particular transit, I want to let you know I'm speaking about the time zone PDT. So please adjust to your time zone. Even though I'm technically on the East Coast right now, I just thought we'll keep it simple. Use the time zone that I always do. So all times that I utter will be PDT. I also want to let you know I do have a tendency to talk very fast. Today, I most certainly am, because I cannot film while the AC is on. And man, you guys, we're not kidding about these New York City summers. It is warm here. So I may be talking a little fast, just to make sure I get you all of the insight and waste none of the time. So I do want to let you know, you're welcome to slow me down. Hit the gear icon, and I've heard 0.75 works. Somebody commented once, they're like, I like Turbo Haley. So choose your speed, okay? Turbo Haley, slower Haley, whatever it is that you like. I also want to let you know that there's timestamps below. So you can always jump back to a particular day or jump ahead to a particular day if you are curious. And without further ado, cheers, my loves. Let's get into the celestial forecast for this packed week of astrology. So good morning, happy Monday. So this is your astrology forecast for Monday, July 17th. So this is the day of the new moon in Cancer, and we have another moony Monday. We know that Monday in astrology is governed by the moon. Cancer is governed by the moon as well, and we have a new moon in Cancer on Monday. Now, this new moon exacts at 11:32 a.m. PDT. I did do a deep dive video because this new moon has so much depth. There's so much layers to it. This new moon opposes Pluto, trines Neptune, bends the nodes. This is a packed new moon. And because this week is so busy, I'm not going to necessarily talk about it as the same level of depth that I did in my deep dive. I mean, I talked for like 40 minutes about the new moon. That's how packed and important this new moon is. I will communicate the essence here. The essence of this new moon is to focus on the feeling that we want to create, the emotions that we want to feel on a regular basis, the home that we want to build, like our physical home, but also the home of our soul. Right? How it is that we follow our intuition, how it is that we feel safe with ourselves, how it is that we pour into ourselves, so that even when we're going through something where things in our life are shifting and transforming quite a bit, we know we can trust ourselves. We know that we are a reliable captain of our soul, master of our fate, and we feel at ease with ourselves. We are not running from ourselves. And with this new moon, it's really about focusing on the feeling. It's not the time to get super specific, because this new moon opposes Pluto. So there is this obsessive kind of energy charged into this new moon. And some of you may be feeling that this week because Sun opposes Pluto around, I want my life to look like this. I want this particular person. I want this particular event to happen. But with Pluto energy, it reminds us that things are shifting and transforming, and it's never my intention to make you feel disempowered. I am of the belief that we can co-create with the cosmos, but it's sort of this reminder from the cosmos around we can be trying to force certain events to happen when in reality a bigger cycle is playing out. And this new moon does ask for trust as it trines Neptune. So it asks for us to trust in spirit, God, universe, trust that the right events and people and circumstances are aligning in accordance to our highest and best timeline, and that we don't necessarily need to play God. We don't need to necessarily get involved by orchestrating everything or to feel that our happiness is dependent upon these particular external results. That's really the ask with this new moon, is how it is that we can show up with the energy of North Node and Aries, how it is that we can show up and be assertive around showing up for ourselves, showing up for the emotions that we want to feel, showing up for the home that we want to create, physical home as well as the home of our soul. It's about trusting in yourself, showing up for yourself, grounding down within yourself, anchoring within yourself, so that even when things are topsy-turvy in your external reality and things are shifting and changing, you're stepping into this new chapter, you know that within your own being, you've created a home. You've created an intuitive connection that will guide you through. You've created this healing journey where you are not afraid to face your deepest self. That's really the energy of the Cancer new moon. You know, new moons are about manifesting, but I would deeply recommend, and I go into more depth within the video, I'll have it linked below, but I would deeply recommend focusing on the dominant emotions that you want to feel every single day. And you would be surprised, but not all of us will have the same things written. Like, you might be like, well, everybody wants to feel happy, but some people, it's more important for them to feel free as they navigate their day-to-day. That's what happiness and success is to them, is being able to get up and do whatever they want to do. For some people, they feel fulfilled to an emotional level, emotionally satiated, when they feel like they have created a life that allows them to feel creatively fulfilled. That's what success looks like. Some people love structure. That structure allows them to feel at ease because they feel like, okay, well, I go to work and then the time out, that is my time, and that's what happiness is for me. Some people, it's deeply important for them to feel very, very peaceful as they navigate their day-to-day. Some people love feeling things very colorful and big, like an artist, you know, ups and downs and highs and lows, and that's how they are creatively inspired. It's more important for them to feel exhilarated and alive rather than peaceful. We all want different things, and I think part of the new moon in Cancer is asking, how is it that you can tune into what it is that you want and what it is that you want to feel, so that you don't build this life and realize this isn't even my life, this isn't even what I wanted to feel or what I wanted to create within my own soul. And it's also an ask to get a little impatient, about our emotions. If you've been holding out on something around, I'll only be happy when this particular thing comes into my existence, when I have this relationship, when I have a new job, when I get this amount of followers, what have you. This new moon in Cancer is like, how can I get to that emotion now? How can I plant the seeds for that emotion now? Like with North Node and Aries, how can I get impatient about the way that I want to feel? How can I stop hinging my happiness and my emotions upon these external situations that, as spiritual awakenings show us, things can be taken away. And so with this new moon in Cancer, it's really around, how can I find that fulfillment now? How can I find that joy now? How can I find that peace now without hinging it on these external results, on this tunnel vision? It's got to be this or else it's nothing. When the universe is like, but you don't really want that. Like, we have something so much better in 2 months' time. Like, you don't need to hinge your entire joy and peace and happiness and future upon this external event, because with Pluto energy, it's a reminder that things are transforming and changing, and Pluto is the energy of death and rebirth. So you are transforming and changing. You might really think that that's what you want, that's what your happiness will be, is this person, this job, or what have you. But again, you don't know who it is that you're going to be on the other side of the transformation that is certainly taking place at this time for a lot of us with North Node and Aries. So it's really just trusting in the bigger cycles that are playing out. It's getting out of your own way, getting out of that energy around feeling like you have to chase and hustle, and really just showing up for yourself and almost tricking yourself in a way around cultivating that emotion here and now. It does actually make you more magnetic. I want you to be sure on the emotions that you want to feel, but flexible on what the universe could bring your way to make you feel that, because I'm telling you, there's bigger cycles playing out. There's a bigger plan here, and part of the energy of this week is trusting in these cycles. So with this Cancer new moon, there's a new start building, and it's a new start around what will make you truly happy, truly fulfilled. Because oftentimes what we think is going to make us happy, happiness is not necessarily waiting us there. Like we could be on this elusive goose chase looking for this emotion that was within us the entire time. Right? How is it that we can facilitate contentment and peace and joy, whatever emotions are important to you to feel as you navigate your day-to-day reality? I could truly talk about this Cancer new moon for another 2 hours, but I will just direct you to the other deep dive video. And there's also Cancer new moon ritual ideas if you are feeling very connected to it. Also on the same day, we have Mercury in Leo squaring Jupiter in Taurus. Now, the good part of this transit is that we can wake up feeling a little bit more optimistic about the week ahead. And you might be moving into this week and writing all of these things on your to-do list, just feeling so optimistic, so inspired around, I'm gonna do this and that, I'm gonna write that book this week, and I'm gonna do this. Like you could be feeling this new start building and feeling very excited about it, feeling very inspired about it, feeling like you have the ability to create magic everywhere you go, which you do. This could be an energy around hyping yourself up. Like this would be the day in which listen to some music, get yourself hyped for the week ahead. Like listen to the music that makes you feel confident, that makes you feel like a baddie, okay? Enter this week like a baddie, okay, is the ask. And that's how you can leverage this energy helpfully. What I want you to be mindful of is that talk is cheap. And Venus stations retrograde this Saturday. So as we've been talking about, people from the past can begin to pop up. And this is sort of energy in which people can be promising this, that, and the third, and the actions aren't backing it up. That's kind of funny about this week, because with Mercury square Jupiter, people are talking a lot. But with Mars opposite Saturn, we're feeling burnt out. We don't have the energy for everything that we're promising. So to a personal level, I want you to be conscious of the plans that you make on Monday. Like, do you ever have those weeks where on Monday you're feeling more inspired? So you're like, yeah, I can go to happy hour with you on Wednesday. I'm going to meet up with you on Thursday. I'm going to handle this. And then you get to it and you're like, I'm so tired. All I want to do is nap. I want you to avoid that. Make a couple plans, okay? But try not to overwhelm yourself, okay? You know, we're wrapping up Cancer season this week. And the thing about Cancer season is that it's very up and down. It's very fluctuating. Moments of feeling super energetically inspired, moments of feeling really, really drained, moments of feeling really happy, moments of feeling really sad. Like, it's very fluctuating. So just be gentle with yourself, because how it is that we're starting the week, you might feel a little different midweek. So just be conscious around what you sign up Wednesday you, Thursday you, and Friday you for. Because with Mars opposite Saturn, you have to be very, very intentional about where you invest your energy, because you simply don't have a lot of it to spare, okay? So with Mercury square Jupiter, be conscious with the plans that you make with friends or even at work, saying, yeah, I can do that project, yeah, I can do this, yeah, I can do this. Just, you have Jupiter in your ear, making you a little bit more optimistic, okay? And that's not a bad thing. Start the week like a baddie. Remember who you are, pour into your confidence. Okay, we have this brand new start, okay? So feel that, get excited about what's happening. But also know that we might be not necessarily the most rational, okay, when it comes to early week. Now, when it comes to other people, people are talking a lot. People are talking a lot. It could be hard for you to focus on Monday as well. Your mind could just feel all over the place. Again, maybe excited, maybe you're doing Pinterest boards or planning this trip or thinking about this, or just kind of spacey. That can be kind of a side of Mercury square Jupiter. But when it comes to people, they can be promising things that they literally cannot deliver. And that's what's interesting, is that Venus stations retrograde on Saturday. So people from the past are going to be popping up. If they're not already, people from your past are going to be popping up. And when it comes to Monday, I would not believe a word of what they say when they pop up. Like Mercury square Jupiter is like this energy around, it's going to be so different. I'm like this, I have this going on. And just don't believe or hinge your energy or expectations upon them fulfilling their promises, because I just don't want you to set up to get disappointed. And I think that's part of the new moon in Cancer energy, is just setting up our life in a way in that whether people disappoint us or not, whether or not we get that job, like these are all external events that are fundamentally shaky. It's scary, but also freeing that things can be taken away from us at any time. And I think the ask with new moon in Cancer is, how is it that we can show up for ourselves so that even if this person from our past doesn't live up to their promises, like we're fine, we're happy. We don't need, or we have not hinged our happiness upon this person. And it's just the energy to be discerning around what people are selling you and telling you, okay? This is a very braggy energy, honestly, because Mercury is in Leo, and we've been talking about this with Venus retrograde, in that sometimes people don't really want you. And I say this with love in my heart, okay? But sometimes people don't actually want you. They just want your energy, they just want your attention, and they just want to know that they can have access to you. They just want somebody where they can come back and be like, well, I did this and I did this, and somebody's like, wow, and ooh, and ah, and look at you. And this is just an energy to just be like, please. Please, okay, please, no. Like, this is giving the energy, if you go out, you know this person, okay, you know this person. A lot of people think that, like, to get someone interested in them, they need to just talk about themselves and talk about their accolades and their accomplishments. Like, at that tiki disco, at that rainy party, this guy was telling me I made 30 under 30 and I drive this car and I do this and I do that. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, you just love to hear yourself talk. You just love to hear yourself talk. And at the end of that, they like expect me to be like, oh my God, wow, wow. It's like, we do not connect. Yelling your accomplishments at me does not a connection make. I could have been a wall. I could have walked away and you might not even noticed. You would have just still been talking about your 30 under 30, okay? So it's always shocking to me that people just think, look, this and this and this and this, and what do you think? What do you think? It's like, no, that didn't even feel like I was talking with a human. That felt like I was reading a resume. Let me just highlight here. We talked about this a couple weeks ago around, I love hyping people up. I love making people feel special. It's not me saying, like, if you have something cool within your life, tell me about it. Like, I get so excited when I hear from past clients, even in the comments. But there's such a difference around, I have this cool thing happening and I'm so excited and I love cheerleading that, versus somebody who's like, look at me, girl, what do you think? This car, this life, this thing, and they just expect you to be like, oh my God, wow, wow. It's like, I don't know you. I don't care. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the sass. Okay, I'm sorry for the sass. But like, does anybody else experience that? And isn't it just so frustrating? Anyways, you could be feeling that on Monday or on Sunday, whether it's, people trying to come up to you at the club, or like, coworkers trying to impress you, or people in your DMs. Like, again, hype people up if it's genuine, they're just excited about something, but just be discerning if somebody just wants your applause or just wants your validation, or because oftentimes when you need other people to validate you, or you need random people's attention in order to feel like you're successful or like living this good life, it typically signals that you're not necessarily confident within yourself. And so, of course, have compassion for those individuals. Like, I just want to be clear. It's not that I, run away when people are telling me cool things about themselves. Conversations should be a two-way thing. It should not just be one person trying to siphon your energy in order to puff themselves up or to feel more confident or successful or what have you. So just an energy to be discerning about. Monday is when the North Node shifts into Aries and the South Node shifts into Libra. The nodes move as an axis and they do move retrograde. North Node is essentially a point of gain, of growth, of timeline acceleration, and South Node is an arena of decrease and disinterest. Now, it's not to say that all of the Aries will grow and we'll be disinterested in Libra, but what I will say is there is a particular arena of your chart in which a lot of your growth will be concentrated around, and you can find whichever house of your chart holds the sign Aries, that can be an arena that is facilitating a lot of growth within your external reality, perhaps material gain. There can be an energy around things quickening up in that arena, a prioritization of that arena of your life. And with South Node in Libra, that can be an energy where you are being asked to release something there. It can be a very spiritual arena of your life, and you can be a little bit less interested in it. So outside of the personal stories that's playing out, overall, there's a story playing out around prioritizing more Aries energy and letting go of more of Libra energy. And I speak of this as archetypes. I'm not coming from any Aries or Libra placements. And again, I do go more in depth in this in the North Node and Aries video. But collectively, we're going to see people prioritize more raw expression. We're going to see people more prioritized around following their instincts, right? We're going to see people more prioritized around being their own person, not being afraid of solitude, not being afraid of doing your own thing, being your own person. And we're going to see a collective disinterest around staying in relationships just for appearances, living a life in accordance to how things look, as well as being overly concerned around how we're perceived by others. Like with North Node Aries, it's really to thine own self be true energy, right? To thine own self be true. It's about taking your happiness into your own hands, taking your life into your own hands, and not waiting for life to happen to you. It's like making the things that you want happen for yourself, initiating what it is that you want to see, and really showing up for yourself, right? Like I think with the new moon in Cancer, North Node in Aries, it's really around how can I feel what it is that I want to feel now? How can I take my happiness into my own hands rather than waiting on others to give it to me? And it's almost that energy that I was sharing about in the Cosmic Cafe segment, where, you know, Libra is an energy ruled by Venus, so it is very concerned with, you know, beauty and how things look, whereas North Node Aries, this is really around experience. It's very raw, it's very messy. So again, it's like I think we're going to see in the next year and a half, it's less about flexing and everything needs to be perfect, but with North Node Aries being more drawn to authenticity, right? Like, again, I could have stayed inside in the dungeon and not gotten, you know, wet and not looked like a sewer rat, but it felt so enlivening to just let the rain fall. Even though it was raw, even though it was messy, even though my mascara was running and my clothes got soaked, I was alive. Like I just think of Aries as very bodily energy. It's very, very raw. It's almost kind of like this primal energy around just living. And with South Node Libra, it's almost like needing recognition from other people in order to feel like our life has value, whereas North Node Aries is like, my life has value because I'm in it and I'm experiencing things and I'm taking on challenges and I'm just doing it. Even if it's raw, even if it's messy, even if I'm soaking wet, even if I make mistakes sometimes, I'm alive, I'm living, I'm taking this into my own hands. And so let's get into some lunar aspects for Monday. So the day does start off with the Cancer moon squaring Chiron, and this new moon does involve Chiron as well. So like I said, with Mercury square Jupiter, some of us will be feeling this optimistic, yes, I can do anything, but I want you to embrace, if you are not feeling that way on Monday, okay, some of us can be really riddled with intensity with the new moon opposite Pluto, and also some pain with the square to Chiron. Let's be real. Sun in Cancer, moon in Cancer, we could be feeling all of the things, right? Feeling very deeply. And I want you to know, embrace those feelings, but see if you are able to sort of hype yourself up. Like that's the gift of Mercury square Jupiter. Like again, be conscious, don't talk other people's ears off, trying to make them hype you up or, you know, stroke your ego or whatever, but hype yourself up. Like, let me know, what's the music you listen to hype yourself up, right? To get yourself going. Like that's what you should do, whether you wake up feeling confident or if you don't, right? Because that's the energy of Mercury square Jupiter, is like really being able to build the energy around remembering who it is that you are, feeling optimistic about your path, and choosing to have the stimuli that supports you in remembering that, remembering your worth, remembering your shine. So again, just music's one way. You can also listen to an inspiring podcast. Maybe some of you are listening to Magic Monday on Monday morning. That would also be great. Or any sort of media that allows you to feel more confident, more supportive moving into the week. So I just want to highlight that because not all of us will necessarily wake up feeling super optimistic. I think those who are more mercurially sensitive, so my Gemini risings, Virgo risings, may be feeling that. But a lot of us also with the energy of the new moon in Cancer might be feeling deep in the feels. And I just want you to embrace all of it and see where it is that you can hype yourself up. Whether it's pulling, you know, some cards for yourself, listening to some music, listening to some media, you've got this. We have a brand new start. And I do want to highlight, when it comes to new moons, when a lot comes to the surface before a new moon, it's typically signaling that we are closing out a chapter. So typically the new moons in which I really am going through it right before, that's because that new moon is really significant for me. Because again, it's like during waning crescent moons, which was over the weekend, we shed, we release, we tie up for this brand new start. So again, if a lot of emotions come to the surface, it's asking you to feel it in order to heal it, because you are literally closing that chapter to step into a new one. So embrace it, particularly if it comes up around the new moon, but anchor in your new start and how you're going to show up for your soul, show up for yourself. And what I want you to do on Monday, if possible, is really strive to feed Neptune as much as possible. Really strive to allow yourself to feel supported within the bigger picture. Because again, the opposition to Pluto, sometimes that can come in as anxiety, because Pluto is transformation. So again, when you're feeling pulled into this new chapter, you can have this energy of anxiety around, where is it going to take me? Who am I going to be? And with the trine to Neptune, it's just saying, relax, you've got you, we've got you. okay? No matter where it is that you go, there you are. And with this new moon in Cancer, it's like, how can I show up for myself so that even as my external reality shifts, like I've got me, I trust myself, I've got my intuition, right? So that would be my advice. The moon will be void at 8:06 p.m. and then it'll enter Leo at 9:39 p.m. So on Tuesday, the 18th, the moon will be in Leo all day and it will square Jupiter in Taurus. So the thing about Jupiter in Taurus is that Jupiter is the grand benefic, right? And we tend to think of it as always positive, but the thing about Jupiter is that it expands what it touches for better and for worse. And we witnessed this on Monday in that it was expanding words, Mercury, for better and for worse. For better in that you could have felt more ideas, more conversations, more inspired, right? But for worse in that a lot of words without really saying anything, right? Or feeling so distracted by new ideas that it was hard to, move forward in some way. And the thing about moon square Jupiter is that this tends to go a couple different ways. One being in that moon is emotions, so it can expand our emotions in great ways, feeling so heart-centered, feeling so loving. Like this is the energy where you just want to text all of your friends and be like, do you know how special you are? Do you know how loved you are? Do you know what a goddess you are? Like this is the energy where you really want to just hype up and just pour love onto people. But with moon square Jupiter, you can also just be feeling things big, okay? Like I've been talking about, as we wrap up Cancer season answers to the moon. So what the moon is doing is of utmost importance. So with the moon squaring Jupiter, good emotions, bad emotions, they're all big, okay? We're having big emotions, especially with all of the things that are happening within this week's astrology. And when it comes to nourishment, moon square Jupiter, we can really be apt to want to nourish ourselves in amazing ways, right? With the energy of the moon in Leo. Leo is the archetype of royalty, so you can really be wanting to pour into yourself, really just wanting to treat yourself like the king or the queen that you are, like really wanting to take that day off work, or maybe you're working, but like not totally, right? You're wanting to treat yourself. But the downside of this is that you could be wanting to treat yourself a little extra, okay? And I know you're worthy of it, okay? I know you're worthy of it, but with moon square Jupiter, it could be an energy in which we are treating ourselves via credit card swipes, we're treating ourselves via many slices of chocolate cake. Like again, I had a whole talk about this last week. I'll link last week's Magic Monday below. With Mars and Virgo, it's important to remember that yes, self-care sometimes is staying in bed all day and eating chocolate cake, but true self-care is also taking care of your potential too. It's also taking care of your chart. It's also taking care of your talent. And oftentimes, if we give in to every urge, every desire, every single time, we don't necessarily have the opportunity to excavate all of the talent potential that we have within our disposal. Like sometimes self-care means going for the walk, even if you don't want to. Sometimes self-care means cleaning, even though you're really lacking energy, but you know that you are worthy of living in a clean space. That's an important message on Tuesday. And again, I do want you to care for yourself. I'm not being mean, okay? I'm not being mean. Take the bath, but maybe take the bath as a reward for cleaning your house right before or something of that nature. Although you might want to wait until the moon enters Virgo to clean your house. That typically is a great house cleaning energy. But again, nurture yourself, show up for your emotions, pour love on those that you love, and just be conscious into indulging every single whim or fancy or desire within you, because you know the energy of Leo and Taurus, it can get a little extra. It can get a little extra a little quickly. So on Wednesday, the moon will be in Leo, where it will conjoin Mercury in Leo. So this can be a very valuable day around communicating and genuine communication, right? Two-way. I talk and then you talk. Look at that. Look how that works out. Maybe you share something that's happening within your life, and maybe I share something that's happening within my life. Look at that. And we're both hyping each other up. We're both supporting each other. One of us couldn't be swapped out by a literal wall and you wouldn't stop talking. Like, sorry, I'm a little sassy today. But what I want to say is that with the moon conjoining Mercury, we could definitely find clarity when we talk through our emotions, when we process them in a more logical way, when we communicate about them. We can find that logically processing through our emotions can be very helpful, putting words to the feeling. Because of course, it's Cancer season. Sometimes these emotions can feel so big. And with the sun building to trine Neptune the following morning, we're starting to feel more sensitive, or you might already may be feeling more sensitive, and sometimes being able to process around, okay, is this mine or am I taking this on for somebody else, right? That's an important question to ask yourself when we're navigating Cancerian, Neptunian energy this week, right? Sometimes we can find that when we sit with it and process, okay, where did this emotion come from? When did it come up? You can find, oh, it happened because I was having that conversation with my friend. I took on her stuff or anything of that nature, just processing around where this emotion came from, what it is trying to teach you, and invite it in. Allow it to have a cup of tea. That's not my quote. I can't remember where I read it, but oftentimes when emotions are knocking at the door, if we just let them in, invite them for a cup of tea and ask them, okay, why are you here? Happiness? What are you showing me? Sadness? What are you showing me? Whatever it is. And really allow ourselves to sit with it. Oftentimes they won't overstay their welcome, they'll leave. But if we keep those emotions knocking at the door, right, they won't go away. They're begging to be felt. And I say that because over the weekend, Chiron will station retrograde. So again, what it is that we have not been dealing with, we will get an invitation to deal with, okay? And so I will just say on Wednesday, if you do notice emotions come up, sit with them, process them, journal them, call up a friend, talk through what's coming to the surface. It can be helpful. Journal about it with the energy in Leo, write a song about it, write a short story about it, create about it. Emotions can be fuel, they can be data, they can be creative expressions. So allowing yourself to sit with it, right? Not always easy to do, but it can be teaching you, it can be showing you. And then with the moon trine and Chiron, it can be healing you when you just process and kind of sit within it. And there is a restless vibe on Wednesday, certainly. You can be feeling kind of bored, seeking stimulation, bored with the mundane. I say this because the Leo moon does square Uranus, so you could want to do something spontaneous. You could be subject to a little bit more outburst energy. You can be a little bit more frustrated, or at least just restless is the energy of Leo moon squaring Uranus, and maybe using your emotions to act out in different ways that you typically don't do. And you could be feeling this call for freedom, this call to want to do your own thing. You can be feeling really frustrated if you feel micromanaged. In any way, this week, I do want to let you know there can be over-talkers coming into your awareness earlier in the week and people who lord their power over you. Later in the week with Sun opposite Pluto, I'm sorry, I wish I had better news to share there, but I just feel there's something building Wednesday for a couple of you where somebody could be just micromanaging you and you're just like, let me do my own thing. Like, I've got this. Like with the energy of Leo, like I'm the ruler of my life. Like I don't need you to inform me what I can and cannot do, and feeling anchored within that energy of freedom and with that energy of autonomy, truly. And with the energy of Leo moon conjoining Mercury, outside of logically processing our emotions, it also can be very helpful to communicate what's going on with us in a loving way. And it's communicating with a very warm energy, right? Here, you know, I'm obviously in the States and we tend to be very like business oriented, and it's so fun doing business with other countries because oftentimes when we start meetings or things of that nature, it's like, how are you? How's your family? Like there's a warmth within communication, which I know isn't always necessarily appropriate within every certain environment. But all I'll say on Wednesday, particularly Wednesday morning, is if you can have a moment to, you know, tell the barista that you love her hair today and that she looks beautiful, do it. If you can, you know, take that moment to have a genuine conversation with the person at Bodega rather than just running to the next task. Like find those moments of warmth, find those moments of allowing people to feel seen. And maybe this would be an energy Tuesday or Wednesday would be a great time to just text someone that you love, tell them how much you love them, right? That can be so helpful because like I said, with a busy week like this, we're all in our fields because it's Cancer season. You never know how far that text could go with somebody, and just an invitation to do just that on Wednesday. So on Thursday, July 20th, the Cancer sun will trine Neptune. And this is the energy of magic, of synchronicity, of feeling that you are in the right place and in the right time and feeling safe where it is that you are, because we need to highlight the energy of Cancer. It is about security. It is about safety. And there's an invitation this week to feel safe beyond even just our physical survival. It's like, just feel safe within your life, to feel supported by something bigger, to feel yes, this change is coming in, or in the vibe check, this awakening is occurring, but trusting the good and the bad. It's going to teach you something. It's going to support you in becoming the person that you were meant to be, and just easing this energy around universe, spirit, source energy, God. You know me more than I do, and I'm just going to trust with what my intuition is showing me. I'm going to trust my instincts. I'm going to trust this awakening. I'm going to trust this consciousness raising. Whatever is transpiring currently, there can be an energy around having to find that energy of trust and not rushing. I feel is important to communicate here. Whenever we talk about Neptune energy and Pluto energy, it's about bigger cycles that are playing out. There's faded cycles playing out, and there's just this invitation to just relax into the knowing what's for me will not pass me. I do not need to hustle and chase. My entire happiness, my entire future is not hinged upon this particular result. Let me just trust. Let me just enjoy the moment. Because have you noticed that when you stop forcing things to happen and you just relax into what is now, trusting that the next moment will arise as it does, the more magic happens, because you're just letting life happen rather than trying to make it happen. And I think when it comes to spirituality, it's not all good, it's not all bad, it's a mixed bag, and this week's astrology really mirrors that as well. But it's just trusting that the good and the bad, it's all trying to teach you something, and it's seeing when available and when appropriate, because when you're in a space, an energetic and emotional space, to be able to do so, if possible, seeing the spiritual lens of what it is that you're moving through, of what it is that it is teaching you. And with the energy of Sun trine Neptune, yes, there's this energy of synchronicity, being in the right place at the right time, having this magical, mystical energy infused in the week. But I'll be forthright, Neptune can make us sad. Neptune can make us tired. Neptune can make us daydreamy, not really feeling totally there, which is why this is tied with the spiritual awakening, because as you go through it, oftentimes the things that you need to be motivated by and that you were motivated by, it no longer has the same luster, and you're sort of somewhere else, right? Because it's the same day that Mars opposes Saturn. So Thursday could definitely have this energy around it's very hard to focus. You want to be somewhere else. You're daydreaming. You're listening to music rather than working, and you're a little out of it. Okay, that's sort of the energy of this combo. When you're awakening, there's this whole new layer of depth. You view things much deeper, and it's harder to show up for the mundane tasks. There is an adjustment period. Like, thank God we're not always as sensitive and like as open as we are during the time that we're initially becoming conscious, or the first time that we're kind of stepping into spirituality, and thank goodness for that. But it can be harder to show up for the typical tasks. It's like, I'm supposed to sit here and do spreadsheets when I'm this deep in my inner child healing, and I learned this about the universe, and I had this astral projection last night. Like, how am I meant to focus on this spreadsheet? Like, there's an energy involved on Thursday. And also just this energy, if anyone else went through this, when it comes to spiritual awakening, it just, because you can see things from the spiritual dimension, oftentimes it could be a very heart-opening time. Like I always say with Neptune energy, protect your heart. Not everybody is deserving of your compassion, or even going above and beyond to try to understand their situation. Oftentimes we can really want to like dive into their head. Like, that's something to be mindful of. We can really want to dive into the situation deeply and understand it and psychoanalyze it. That'll be important with Sun opposing Pluto the next day. Like, really go deep and understand, well, they just did this because this happened to them and they're hurt and this going on. But it's like, it's not your due diligence that you need to solve that person's life and do their healing. Like, oh, you can't do someone's push-ups for them, and you don't need to go above and beyond in extending your compassion through trying to help somebody who may not even be trying to help themselves. That yes, be compassionate, be loving. We're all moving through something, and you never know how that moment of compassion can really benefit somebody. But also notice where you're going above and beyond, trying to psychoanalyze and trying to defend. Well, they did this because they're hurt because of this and because of that and because of this. Like, again, you can love somebody without loving the way that they treat you. And it's hard when you're, a spiritual person, because you see their soul, or at least you're getting to know their soul, and you see their potential and who it is that they can be. And it can be really frustrating. And if you are somebody who tends to be somebody who wants to fix things, it can be very hard to understand that is not your job to go above and beyond towards trying to rationalize and explain and facilitate this person's healing for them. That's their work. Okay, that's their work, and you just need to focus on your work. Like I said, with Mars opposite Saturn, our energy is limited this week, so make sure that you put it in towards yourself. You also deserve your care and compassion and attention. And you can love somebody without needing to fix them, okay? We're all on our own journey. Just something I need to highlight with Sun trining Neptune. So with Mars opposite Saturn, this is lack of motivation. This is feeling burnt out, okay? This is feeling drained. And when it comes to our like practical daily reality, we could just be feeling really blah about it. Like, oh, I have to do laundry again. I have to do these spreadsheets again. Having so much on your plate and just no motivation to do it at all. You have like 20 emails, like where's this, where's that? And all you want to do is dream. You're like, I am a soul having this human experience. We are on a rock going through space and you want me to do spreadsheets. Like again, we could be so big picture that it's hard to show up for the mundane, but the mundane deserves your attention too. I'll just say with opposition to Saturn, be gentle on yourself if you're not feeling very energized. This is not the day that I would pick battles, okay? Mars is essentially our ability to win. With opposition to Saturn, we can feel like we're losing. And it's interesting this week because like Monday was the energy of Mercury square Jupiter where it's like, I'm doing so good, I'm so awakened, because that's part of the spiritual experience around, well, I'm just so awake and I'm just so conscious and these people are so low vibrational and that's why they don't understand. No one's better than anybody, and sometimes I've just noticed within spiritual communities, sometimes there could be energy around, well, I'm just so awakened and I'm just so conscious, and it's like, no, like the final level of a spiritual journey, I think, is like getting to the essence around we're all souls, right? And just because you're awakened or what have you doesn't make you better than anybody. And I think with Mars opposite Saturn, it's like that blow to your ego around, wow, I thought by spiritually awakening I was going to bypass all my problems, but now I'm just realizing it just magnifies them, right? It magnifies everything that I'm moving through as well as everything that I've ran away from. And that's okay. Just embracing that as part of the journey. And with the Mars opposite Saturn, you might be feeling down on yourself. You might be feeling defeated, whether it's by life's mundane requirements of you. Be gentle with your body. Do not overextend your body. Try not to pick fights on Thursday because it's just an energy where you can just feel like a loss. It could just feel like a defeat. And that's okay. Life is a series of wins and losses, and it is what it is, okay? And with Mars opposite Saturn, just understand, it doesn't say anything about your worth as an individual. Like, just lick your wounds and keep it going. If there is a loss, if there is a disappointment, okay, it does not say anything about you. In the morning time, the Leo moon will conjoin Venus in Leo at 7:08, so it would be a great time to make something sweet for breakfast, dress cute, okay? We kind of have a more lazy morning because then the moon will be void. Closing aspect is the conjunction of Venus and Leo, so certainly there could be a mood to want to take a longer time getting ready or just want to do things that are motivated by pleasure, right? Wanting to eat a long breakfast, wanting to go get a latte, not wanting to handle our tasks and routines. We want to be around beautiful places. We want to flirt with our crush, whatever. We're more motivated by Venusian affairs and not so motivated by the tasks and the responsibilities. When the moon enters Virgo, there definitely can be an eye towards it. Again, Virgo is all about the facts, the figures, the details. With the Virgo moon, this typically is very hardworking energy around wanting to get all our ducks in a row, wanting to organize all of the things. But with Mars opposite Saturn, you can just notice your motivation is low, right? Your drive to fight for what it is that you want is low. Your ability that you perceive of your ability to get what it is that you want could feel low. Your resources just feel low right now. So again, that's why I'm saying be conscious with the battles that you pick or what it is that you give energy to, which is why I went on that rant around you don't need to fight other people's battles for them. You need your energy and attention, and you need to ensure that you're carving time for what is valuable for you that will better your life, really. So with the energy of the Mars opposite Saturn and that Virgo moon conjoining Mars and opposing Saturn, there could be things that are frustrating you, okay? There could be a coworker who's annoying you and you want to have an email all sassy and be like, that's not right, this, that, and the third. But again, conserve your energy. Again, every single day we wake up with these hours and you just need to be intentional with what hours you give to other people. Like Cheryl could have really annoyed you at work, but does she deserve 2 of your hours? Does she deserve a 12th of your day to compose this email to throw her under the bus for something that she did? She does not. You need those hours. You need that attention towards yourself. Just be discerning. I think you're going to feel kind of frustrated on Thursday. Either frustrated by people, but what feels more likely is just frustrated by work, frustrated by responsibilities, frustrated by the mundane aspect of responsibilities, just wanting to jump out of your skin and be like, why am I a human being that takes all of this maintenance and all of this regulation? I just want to be a soul. I just want to float around. This isn't, fair. And that's certainly part of a spiritual journey. But just remember that you are worthy of maintenance and upkeep. And it is important, if you are going through this currently, just in case anybody is, it is important to stay grounded as much as possible. Like, I just remember the summer that I was really, really spiritually awakening. I was vegan and I was not doing it correctly. I didn't really do research around like everything that I needed and whatnot. I was not grounded at all. And for me, I get more energized when I'm not eating a lot. I know it seems really strange, but for me, food is grounding and allows me to ground down and calm down. But for me, I don't really have an appetite, so I can like go a long time without eating and I just get really, really wiry and really, really neurotic. Like I just get like this. And that's how I was like all summer, because I didn't know how to be vegan. So just like eat carrots and hummus. And I was like, this is good, right? All of this stuff was happening spiritually. And again, I was not grounded. I was losing things all the time. I was quite literally losing my hair. I was losing pounds. I could not stay tethered to my physical body. So if any of you are going through that right now, just remember to show up for your physical body. Okay, ground down into your environment. We may have these spiritual experiences, but you are still a human body. We came here to be a human. Okay, it doesn't matter if you astral project for 23 hours a day. Like, you came here to be a human for at least one. So be anchored within this human experience. And yes, being a human does take upkeep, maintenance, cleaning, work, a lot of annoying things, okay? But your soul signed up for this in some essence, okay? Your soul wanted to be here. So learn what it is that you can learn. And just be gentle with yourself if you're noticing your motivation, your drive is low on Thursday. This too shall pass. So on Friday, July 21st, the Cancer Sun opposes Pluto in Capricorn. And like I briefly highlighted earlier, be mindful of personalities that are overbearing or very, very narcissistic or egocentric people, right? With Sun opposite Pluto, sometimes there can be a certain energetic around people who are trying to siphon power from you. Again, people who are truly powerful within their own lives typically don't need you to validate them, right? Which is why when it comes to people who are narcissistic, they look for supply from others. They're looking for the energy that they don't necessarily have within themselves, which is why they need your attention. They need your life force. And on Friday, whether it's that extreme or even just in micro ways, people trying to make you jealous or whatnot, see it for what it is and just understand, again, with Mars opposite Saturn, I am discerning with where I place my energy. Not every battle is worth fighting. If you could just see the power dynamic for what it is, if you could just see that person trying to impress you with this laundry list of accomplishments for what it is, you give yourself the freedom to just be like, I'm not going to exert energy here. I need my own energy and I'm not going to put it here, right? I just want you to be mindful of that. And it's so fun. So I'd highlighted that I'm not in my typical filming environment. I'm at my friend Cass's apartment and there's a fan in front of me. It's not on because it's so loud, but there's a fan in front of me and it's called Vornado, but I read it as tornado. And that's sort of the energy of this week. Now, it's not scary. I'm not saying a literal tornado, but it's sort of like that energy when you could see a tornado approaching. Like again, with Sun opposite Pluto, some of you might be thick in this transformation. Things have occurred that are making you feel very out of control of your own life. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't know where things are all going to land after this tornado is done, right? Some of you are just seeing it approach. You're like feeling it coming and you're like, okay, something's coming in. And I would actually love to hear, what are some signs that you have with yourself that you know that change is on the way? Like for me, whenever I start seeing 555 pretty consistently, whenever I see Pluto aspects within my solar return chart, whenever I see certain transits coming up, randomly, whenever I start listening to the album Currents by Tame Impala quite a bit, which coincidentally has the song that I was talking about at the beginning of this video, Let It Happen. But that entire album is about that energy of a tornado, right? When you feel yourself being pulled in, this gravitational pull around, my life is taking me somewhere. And again, it's scary. You essentially, everything gets tossed up and you don't know where you'll land. You don't know where your stuff will land. You don't know what your life will look like, but you can't resist that gravitational pull of where things are coming in. And that album, for some reason, I only want to listen to it when my life is going through that, because that's what that album is about. Whenever I start listening to that album a lot, that's how I know that change is on the way. And I want you to trust that knowing. I don't want you to feel bonkers or weird for like feeling that something is coming in. Trust that. That's what the Cancer new moon is. It's really like trusting yourself as the navigator of your life and trusting yourself as the roots of the tree, right? Trusting yourself to show up for your private reality and trusting your intuition. So some of you might be thick in the throes of transformation. Some of you might just see the tornado approaching. And I don't mean tornado in terms of destruction. That's more so a basically symbolism around things in your life being shaken up, and things can feel really unsettled and you just don't know where they'll fall, but you just need to trust in these cycles, trust in this gravitational pull. I know it can feel very scary, but it can also feel exhilarating. The first time I ever had my chart read, the person who read it basically told me, was like, you know, you're going to have lots of wonderful things within your life, but the sad thing about it is that you won't get to keep them for very long. And that haunts me all of the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, because my chart's just very Plutonian. Like I have North Node conjoining Pluto and squaring my ruling planet, squaring Mars, like just a lot of Pluto energy going on. And that used to scare me. But the older I get and the more my relationship to my chart grows, the more I see that as very, very freeing, to be able to live a life that's so wealthy in experiences that I get the opportunity to rebirth myself, to reinvent myself over and over. And sometimes it is hard and it does make me sad. I wish that I was somebody sometimes who had a chart that was more settled. I'm like, when did I sign up for these lessons? Why couldn't I learn lessons about, I don't know, gardens? Like, why am I learning how to reinvent myself over and over again? But the more I grow into my chart, the more my relationship to it changes around feeling so lucky and so blessed that I get to live so many different lives in this one life, that I get the ability to have these sweet things, even if they don't last for very long, and really to have this experience to be able to essentially up-level myself over and over again. So I don't know if anybody else can relate to that, but it felt important to relay with the Pluto energy baking within this week's astrology. Is it's always scary, but you can always say at the other side of it, it's always worth it. And there's a reason Pluto is the planet of power. Because when you can go through a tornado of your own life, right, transformation, whether it's a spiritual awakening or external things happening within your world, and get to the other side, that knowledge is power. That insight of yourself is power. That resilience within you that you know that you have because you made it to the other side, that's power. So I don't want you to fear where it is that you are essentially being asked to transform right now. I would just be mindful of where it is that you're clinging, where it is that you have claw marks, because that could be a sun opposite Pluto and energy. And with the new moon involving Pluto, it's sort of that energy around this or bust. I'm clinging to this. It's got to be this, right? When the universe is like, no, we're just taking you in a different direction, right? That's just not exactly it. So just being conscious of where it is that you have claw marks, and be mindful where people are trying to claw into you. Again, egocentric types, or people who are trying to control you or lord their power over you. Again, the highest vibration of Pluto is when we just allow things to transform, allow ourselves to transform, allowing ourselves to go deep, to see these dynamics for what they are, and to not necessarily give our energy to it, would be my advice on Friday. We also have Mercury trine Chiron on the same day, which is, in short, this energy of healing words, healing language. Again, you can feel that change coming in, and the only thing that you can really shift about it is how it is that you talk to yourself of it, right? And it's hard to do in the eye of it, right? So I don't want to invalidate anything that anyone's moving through, because I know some of you are moving through it currently, and it's scary when you're uncertain what your future will look like. It's scary when things that you thought were rooted and rock solid are taken from you or changed in some way. It's scary, okay? So I don't want to invalidate that. But with the energy of Mercury trine Chiron, it's around how can we frame this? How can we see, like for me, looking at my chart, I used to look at it and think that was a curse. Truly, I thought I was cursed having North Node conjunct Pluto, and now I see it as such a gift, truly, because it's not going to change. So I had to change my relationship to it, right? I can't change the day that I was born. And with Mercury trine Chiron, it's like how it is that we are talking ourselves through this healing journey, right? How we are cheerleading ourselves through it, how we are changing our relationship to where it is that we feel wounded is the energy with Mercury trine Chiron, as well as processing where our healing journey is taking us currently. That will be baked into this weekend, because we do have Chiron stationing retrograde as well. So both of those aspects happen later at night, and in the morning time we do have the Virgo moon trine Jupiter. So this should be energy around working hard at something. You can leverage the Mercury trine Chiron energy by having podcasts or things that are hyping you up, or things that are allowing you to feel seen, or even just journaling on what's coming up at this time. Like, again, you are your own best advocate, you're your own best cheerleader. Just Mercury in Leo trine Chiron asks you to recognize that. Whether you're hyping yourself up before a presentation or journaling on your lunch break, there's just this energy around having a more loving way in how it is that you're talking to yourself, particularly in how it is that you talk to yourself about your insecurities and about your wounds. And with Sun opposite Pluto, Virgo moon trining Jupiter, get obsessed with tasks. Use that tunnel vision to focus on controlling this task, or focus on making this perfect. Again, try not to control others. There's just an interesting energy on Friday where people who are not feeling powerful within their own lives can be trying to control you, or you might not be feeling empowered within your own life, so you're trying to control the people within your life. But Pluto energy reminds us, like, we are all shifting and transforming, and that's so lovely about having connections, is that, you know, you might start dating somebody and transform certain aspects of themselves. Now you're meeting this new version of them, right? And we need to allow our partners and our friends that ability to transform. I'm being so chatty today, and I do have to go soon. But I just want to quickly say, sitting in Cass's apartment right now is such a beautiful experience. And I just want to relay this in case somebody needs to hear this. This girl changed her entire life and created the most beautiful life in New York City. Like, we've been here hanging out with her friends, this amazing friend group that she's made, her amazing boyfriend, this incredible apartment, this life she's built here. Like, she grew up in San Diego, like, she had a relationship, she had this comfortable life, right? But she just knew her life was taking her in a different direction, and she made it happen for herself. That is so scary, to move to New York City by yourself and to make this happen. She really had to go through the fire. Like, it was really scary. It was a risk. Financially, it was a risk. Socially, it was a risk. It's so hard to beat that inertia, to go somewhere different, to make it happen for yourself. But again, she did it. I know you can do it. If anybody is contemplating a major move or a major transformation, you just need to trust your instincts, trust your intuition in what is meant for you, and trust in your strength, okay? Trust in your tenacity. So on Saturday, July 22nd, firstly, I want to say happy birthday season to all of the lovely lions. We adore you for your generosity, your heart-centered ways, your ability to be the cosmic cheerleaders, your ability to lead with such grace, with such dignity. Thank you so much for the shine that you exude to the zodiac, you sun-ruled loves. I hope that you enjoy your birthday season. If I know Leos the way that I think I do, you guys better be doing something fun for your birthday, okay? So firstly, the sun ingresses into Leo, and it's not that our emotions like turn off the second that sun enters Leo, but it should feel more consistent. Because when the sun's transit in Cancer, it's answering to the moon. The moon has much more fluctuating energy. It's waxing, it's waning. We look up some days, it's a crescent. We look up some days, it's disseminating, what have you. It's in flux, right? Versus the sun, you know, rises every single day, sets every single day. And we know what to expect. Obviously, the weather differs, but when it comes to the sun itself, we know every single day it's there. It's more consistent. It just shines out its light. So you should notice things are a little less topsy-turvy, and you should notice you're really stepping into this energy around wanting to play, wanting to create, wanting to express yourself. On the same day, Venus stations retrograde in the sign Leo. I do have a deep dive video that talks about what your sign can expect, all of the people that you could be reconnecting with, and furthermore, the real level up potential of this transit as it relates to your chart. Because with retrograde energy, it is a tilt inward, and because Venus is the planet of love, I would say it's not necessarily the most favorable time to be, you know, dating. Like, again, fate will find you when fate will find you. But I'm saying you don't need to hustle and date right now. You don't need to hustle around, I've got to find my soulmate right now. Trust They will find you when the time's right. And Venus retrograde in Leo asks you, will you be ready for them when they arrive, right? Like Venus retrograde in Leo is really around processing where it is that you have not valued yourself, processing your romantic experiences from the past so that when you connect to this person, you're connecting as the best version of yourself, right? Where you're really able to shine out your most authentic light within this connection, because that's what the people that you date deserve, right? And with this energy, I talk much more in depth about it in the Venus retrograde video, but there will be a review of love, beauty, and money. And what I'll say here is I would be conscious as it relates to starting new relationships. You're gonna hear from people from your past. I would be conscious before deciding that they get to walk right back into your life. Okay, be discerning about that. I would be conscious when it comes to major financial decisions, and I would be conscious when it comes to major beauty decisions. With Venus retrograde, there can be a pull inward around how it is that you've valued yourself or ways that you have not valued yourself, ways that you've held yourself dignified as royalty and ways that you have not. Leo's archetype of royalty is why I've said that. It's a big self-love transit. And it's really about pouring into yourself, which oftentimes when it comes to spiritual awakening, we're a little less accessible to the external world in order to dive into the internal. And with Venus retrograde, it's really reviewing your romantic past and reviewing it as data around what are the themes I keep running into in love, and am I ready to shift that pattern? It's reviewing how have I really been aligned with my truest aesthetic, and how can I make the shifts that would allow me to do so? What is my relationship? Yes, and I do mean relationship. What is my relationship to money? And is it really serving me? There's this introspective energy with all of these themes. And so note what comes to the surface during this transit. Just because an opportunity from the past or a person from the past comes back is not the cosmos telling you to run back to it, but it's more so recognize the lesson that's trying to teach you or what it's trying to bring to the surface about you. At the end of the day, retrogrades are about you. It is not about your exes. It is not about your old bosses, your old friends. It is about you. If people do come back, if opportunities do reemerge, contemplate, who was I when I was involved with this? Who was I within this connection? And do they celebrate who it is that I am now? So check out the video to take a deeper dive into that particular transit, which starts on Saturday. So in terms of lunar aspects, the Virgo moon trines Uranus would be a great time to do something productive, but something a little fun. Would be a great time to clean, as I highlighted, with the opposition to Neptune, really seeing the spiritual significance around what it is that you're doing, because when you're cleaning, you're not just cleaning. It is a spiritual act. That's why witches are always pictured with broomsticks, okay? You're clearing energy, you're inviting in fresh energy. The sun is, for the majority of the day, at the anaretic degree of Cancer, so there's urgency around our home environment. So it would be a great day to kind of pour some love and nourishment into your physical abode, so that when the sun ingresses Leo later in the day, you can spend Leo season exploring and playing and all of those things. The Virgo moon will also trine Pluto and Capricorn, so really a powerful day to ground down into your tasks and really find your power. Like again, things can feel wonky, things can feel out of control, but maybe there are certain routines that you have that allow you to feel grounded, where it's like, I don't know what my life is turning into, everything feels like it's gone haywire, but I know at the end of the day, I do my skincare, and for that moment, I feel calm. My friends have been making fun of me because we've all been staying here because I have a really ridiculous, no one's shocked, my Virgo moon, but I have a very ridiculous skincare routine and just a really ridiculous bedtime routine in general. I put on this little headband. I need like soothing music playing. I have to like gua sha. Like I'm very particular about my rituals, especially when I'm traveling, which I know feels bonkers, because it allows me when things feel out of control, because traveling does make you feel that things go haywire. You don't have what it is that you need. You're living out of a suitcase, but having that ritual, it just kind of allows me to ground down and feel more powerful. So all I want to say, whether it's working out, cleaning, if things feel wacky, do things that you know you have control over. Like I said, with Sun opposite Pluto, try not to control people, just ground down into the aspects of your life that you can find that element of control over, because oftentimes that's when we need control, is when things feel out of control, right? So whether it's, you know, you're meeting me on my insane skincare routine or cleaning or working out, whatever allows you to feel soothed and grounded. The moon will be void at 9:06 p.m. and it will enter Libra at 10:54 p.m., bringing a focus to harmony, to balance, and then it sextiles the Leo sun, which is fun. This would be a great going out energy. This is a great flirty energy. Like I said, with Venus stationing retrograde, I wouldn't start a new relationship, okay? It's not typically the most aligned time, but it is a great time to flirt. Sometimes flirting, you can learn about yourself. Maybe this would be like a creative essence. Maybe this spend time with the friends that you love, something of that nature. Saturday would be a great time to do something fun. So on Sunday, the 23rd, Chiron will station retrograde. Chiron is the comet of the wounded healer. And as I highlighted about retrogrades, it is a pull inward. So with Chiron retrograde, it's really reviewing our healing journey. And this is tied to spiritual awakening because again, when we're just interacting with the 3D material world, it's a lot easier to avoid our healing, right? We can develop these coping strategies that aren't truly nourishing for our soul, but it keeps us safe from feeling those uncomfortable emotions. With Chiron retrograde, there can be a review of parts of you that are a little bit wounded or in need of some love, right? Of pouring in some love to. And again, we talked about this with Sun Square Chiron a couple weeks ago. It's not identifying with the wound. It's not allowing that martyred part of us to make the decision. It's not identifying with that wound, but it's understanding what that wound is trying to show you. Understanding why that wound might have been helpful from a spiritual sense. If you are able to sink into that, that's not necessarily a mind state that's helpful for every single scenario. But when it comes to Chiron retrograde, I'm sure a lot of your spiritual awakenings, mine most certainly, was initiated by a very painful experience. And it was truly an initiation, what it was that I went through. And it was so painful, and it was not appropriate at the time being to be like, this is a spiritual lesson. Because again, I was in the thick of it. Like, you don't want to tell that to somebody who's in the thick of it. But now, years distance and understanding all of the gifts that going through that spiritual awakening have given me, it's not that I'm grateful for the wound, but I'm grateful for what it taught me. I'm grateful with the strength that it made me uncover. I'm grateful for the journey that it put me on. I'm telling you right now, that was the most painful experience of my life, but I would not be sitting here talking with you all. I don't know what my life would look like, but for me, my spiritual awakening, astrology, they were very much tied together. And so I didn't know going through that would allow me to find my life's work, right? Find my calling. And it's not appropriate to tell someone when they're in the thick of it, like, maybe you'll find your calling. Like, again, that's something that I've found with distance. And it's not that you'll necessarily find it right away if you are currently moving through it. Again, if you're not currently moving through it, with Chiron retrograde, it is reviewing and perhaps reframing some of these past experiences. But for some, it's an invitation to just feel it and to just embrace it and to understand these insecurities or these inadequacies. There can be something powerful within it, or something that you're meant to share or to teach or something of that nature. Because Chiron is wherever it is that we feel left out, wherever it is that we feel different than other humans. And with Chiron retrograde, it's understanding the things that you've tried to hide, the things that you felt like make you less than or not good enough or what have you. There can be some value there that you're having this invitation to tap into during Chiron retrograde. Hi all, editing Haley here. Just had to pop in with a quick note that Pluto officially bends the nodes on Sunday the 23rd. Now, this is an energy that extends far beyond July 23rd. Like, we will feel this moving into August and even beyond, but it does exact on Sunday. Now, when we talk about the nodes, we talk about fate. We talk about karma. And when we talk about Pluto, we talk about transformation. We talk about power struggles. So all I want to put on your horizon currently is firstly observe how fate is guiding you into transforming, into trusting your instincts around where it is that you are meant to transform at this time, as well as you may see just echoed within society, echoed within the collective, around people wanting to stand up for themselves, stand up to the powers that be. North Node Aries is advocacy, and the square to Pluto in Capricorn is about essentially those who are in power structures. So we should continue to see frustrations beginning to continue to build, as well as people really wanting to take their power back, okay? And with the energy of Pluto, it's transformation. And when it comes to Pluto bending the nodes, it's just like there is certain transformation taking place, both for you as well as for all of us collectively, that is fated. And a lot of times when it comes to Pluto stuff, it can make us feel very fearful. Things can feel very out of control. And we will continue to see this story play out, but I just want you to know that the shifts that are occurring at this moment, where it is that you are being asked to transform at this moment, it is fated. It is karmic. So as much as you are able to relax into the flow of where essentially your life is taking you at this moment. So Back to the video. And the week that never ends closes out with Mercury in Leo squaring Uranus in Taurus. This is an energy that when it comes to our mental space, we can be a lot more restless. We can be a little bit more erratic, perhaps. It can be harder to sleep. Our mind can feel all over the place, okay? And with Mercury square Uranus, this is not necessarily the most conducive time for conversations because you could be trying to stir people up, like trying to be controversial, or people could be trying to be controversial with you. Like Uranus is the energy of the eccentric, right? And with Mercury square Uranus, there's nothing wrong with being eccentric, but there can just be people, again, who want your energy and are trying to get it by saying something outlandish to you. So again, it's an important week to be discerning with where exactly you exert your energy, because there's a lot going on, and not everybody who requests your energy needs access to it, okay? You need it too. And when it comes to you personally, the invitation with Mercury square Uranus can be to perhaps see things from a new point of view, which is why I spoke about Chiron retrograde in the way that I did. In that it's like, it's not that I'm grateful for that experience, but my gosh, it really did unlock so many attributes of me that I don't know if I would have connected to, or around seeing things from a different perspective. For some of you, if you're artistic, this is time to get weird, especially if you create through the medium of words, okay? This would be a great time to do something new, get a little weird with it. The moon is waxing, it was a new moon. Venus is retrograde, so I wouldn't do something brand new in a Venusian domain, but we are having this cosmic invitation around what is it that we want to grow? Maybe you want to try something with Mercury square Uranus. Remember, it's Leo season now. We're here to have fun. We're here to enjoy. I know oftentimes when it comes to spiritual awakenings and astrology, and when things are very packed, things can be very serious, and a lot of things are very serious, but again, don't forget to have fun. Don't forget to play. But I think with Mercury in Leo squaring Uranus, it's really finding opportunities to do something different, finding opportunities to be more spontaneous. Maybe this would be, sharing a weird thought with a friend, right? And you never know how just planting that question can open up their mind in a brand new way. Maybe this is writing a weird haiku. Like I think the energy of Leo, it's like not taking ourselves so seriously always. Like again, there's serious things happening, but try not to take yourself so serious that you forget to create and have fun and experiment and be weird and say weird things and try weird things and experience life. Editing Haley again. I did switch spots, and this will be the last time you'll be hearing from Editing Haley, but I also just want to highlight that Mercury is about messages. So there can be some messages that come through that you're just like, WTF. And perhaps for some of you, it can be hearing from people from your past that are just random, like out of left field. And I say that because Venus does station retrograde the prior day. So you could be like, why is somebody who I haven't talked to since 7th grade hitting me up telling me that they're in my city? Like I'm talking random, out of the blue messages that you receive. Also, one thing I would just encourage you to double check, if you do order anything, Mercury square Uranus can sometimes be like glitchy. It can lead to technological difficulties, and Venus does station retrograde the prior day, which can sometimes indicate some money snafus or reviews or things of that nature. So just double check. And then the last note is just your mind can just be feeling like it's running haywire, just so restless, so all over the place. So make sure to ground down, handle one thing at a time, because your focus may not be at the zenith during Mercury squaring Uranus. So that is our week, my friends. The emoji for this week's astrology. Gosh, there's so much going on. I can't even pick an emoji. But we will say, for the purpose of this week, go ahead and put the lion emoji below, because it is Leo season. So happy birthday to all the lovely Leos. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is, I am discerning with where I exert my energy. This is an important week to understand your energy is your currency. Not everybody who requests it deserves access to it, and you have to be discerning, because the energy of Mars opposite Saturn is limitations. And with Mars, we are literally limited with the amount of energy that we have to give. And with Mercury squaring Jupiter, Sun opposite Pluto, Mercury square Uranus, whether it's a good reaction or a bad reaction, people can be trying to get a reaction from you, okay? And you don't have the energy at your disposal to be able to give everybody who wants access to your energy access to your energy. So I just want you to see yourself as the main character. It is Leo season now, okay? And understand it's okay not to have bandwidth for every little thing. Be gentle with yourself, be gentle with other people, and just ensure that you put your energy into what your heart is in. We're transitioning from Cancer season to Leo season. These are very heart-centered, loving energies. Make sure to take time for what it is that you love, for who it is that you love, and be discerning of people who try to enter your orbit who don't necessarily love you or like you or want to connect with you. They just want your energy. They just want to feed off of you. That's important when it comes this week. And there's a new start beginning for you with the Cancer new moon squaring North Node in Aries. It's a new start anchored around doing what's best for yourself, even if that means sometimes letting people down, even if that means filling up your cup and knowing that you don't have enough water to also fill all of these other people's cups as well. It's okay to show up for yourself first and show up for your roots, show up for your home. That's how you grow out into the world and are able to explore and tap into your potential, is when you show up for yourself first and foremost. So be discerning with where you exert your energy. And that is our week. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry if I'm sitting here sweating. It's so hot. I'm not able to have the AC while I'm filming. And of course, this was the week's astrology that has so much going on, of course, but I had fun and that's what matters. And I hope you did too. My Instagram handle is @Comet_astrology. My TikTok is the same. I would so love to connect with you over there. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay magical.